Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Pulp, Punditry and Portchy. Hi everyone and welcome to the second episode of Pulp, Punditry and Portchy. I hope you've had a great week. Today's episode I'm going to be talking to Mr. Lee Molyneaux, who is the new assistant manager at AFC Portchester. Lee, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was alright until I just realised that my name was spelt wrong on the screen.
Yeah, I haven't changed it. He called me out with that the other day, so like literally, yeah, I haven't changed it. So professional, I know as well. But yeah, how's everything been for you in terms of the lockdown? I'm really excited, obviously, to have you here as well.
It's been good. Yeah, I think it's been good. I think it's been good in general and just in life, in my life, in everybody's lives. Just I think just to be able to have a level set and obviously being in the corporate world, we have a lot of calls about mental health and making sure you look after yourself. But I actually feel amazing just because we've had some time just to go stop everything, realise what's going on. I think if you take time off work, be it a week, few days, 2 weeks, whatever, you never really stop, assess and go again. So it's been brilliant for me. Yeah, it's kind of a level set, and this is a new beginning, which is great, and we've got a few other bits going on, which is cool.
Fantastic. Just before we move into, I guess, because we're going to talk a little bit about Lee's career and also like how he's found settling in here as well. But how have you found that, like joining obviously Portchy so far? Like first impressions.
Yeah, first impressions was what sold it. When I came down and spoke to Chairman and Mick, and I knew it was a good club. I think that it can have more promotion behind it because honestly, I didn't realise some of the stuff that was going on. Like we're sat in the gym in the stadium. Like I didn't know the stadium or the ground had a gym. Like it's got a kit room. It's got everything that a professional club has. So I was blown away by facilities, by the community feel around the place, and yeah, that's kind of what I want to be part of. So that was a big selling point for me.
Oh, fantastic! Now we're looking forward to the season whenever it does start. So I guess what we want to do is talk a little bit about your career and like how you got to this point. So from doing a little bit of my research, so you started at Pompey when you were younger, like early 2000s-ish time. So how was that being at Pompey when you were younger?
Yeah, Pompey from when I was about 7 years old.
Amazing.
So, all the way through what was called a Centre of Excellence, all the way through what was called a YTS then, which is now a scholarship. Did my scholarship, which was ended up 2.5 years. Got a pro contract half a year early, was a pro there for 2.5 years. But it was good. I think, if I'm honest, it was too high a level for my ability, and I'm only able to say that now I'm 37 and I can look back and reflect upon it. Being at a prestigious club's amazing, like it's really, really cool. But you've got to realise, like, I was there pushing for the first team, and it's probably unrealistic from my ability, which I didn't know, they didn't know, and it's only looking back on it now, like I should have gone on loan and I should have played and I should have realised my level, but when you're at a pro club, I think you just aspire to be in the first team.
Sure.
And it was potentially a bridge too far, but amazing times there, yeah, met some cool people, and yeah, it kind of made me what I am today. Like, I think anybody who goes through that scholarship process will say that's what makes you.
Sure.
It was like, yeah, the coolest period of my life. It was wicked. Yeah.
I can imagine. I guess some of the people like you were around, you were saying at the time, you were around, I guess early 2000s, was it like Prosinecki and Merce maybe, or were you still there at that point? Yeah. What were some of the people who were there?
Merce a little bit, Prosinecki definitely, but didn't see much of him. We hardly ever trained. I might see him when he came in for a cigarette at half time or something like that.
That's a famous line, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but honestly, when he did train and you were on the opposite team, it was scary.
Yeah.
Like, it was being a young guy like at Portsmouth trying to make a mark and being a defender, so obviously marking someone like he's one of loads, but he was probably the one I feared the most.
Talented.
He could honestly put you on your ass. He could make you look an absolute tool. I know he could do that to anyone, but you're just so nervous that he's going to make you look stupid. And he did.
And you're trying
on numerous occasions, yeah.
So you said you were playing centre back, is that right, for your career?
Centre-back,
have you always been centre back?
Well, funny enough, I played quite a few games in league, in the football league for Oxford United at right wing, which people will be like, Molly's not a right winger. But we had a left winger, Chris Hackett, who was So we kind of just doubled up on the right. We had kind of two right backs, and we just let him bomb on, and quite an interesting philosophy, but it worked. We did all right.
Yeah, it's good that you've been able to kind of be versatile and
but
have
yeah,
that experience.
I am a centre back or right back.
Sure, yeah. So it said in terms of following that, like you went on loan to Derry City. So how was that experience going over to Ireland?
Yeah, that was one of those that the opportunity came available. I ummed and ahed, and honestly, they had a pre-season friendly against Barcelona set, and that was what sealed the deal. And I was a bit like, okay, sceptical. Barcelona's going to be like, it'll be their B team or whatever, and it was not. It was Puyol, Kluivert, Deco, Ronaldinho.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And I was like, I'm going to sign there for 6 months because I want to play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young at the time again, and I look back on it, and I went there, lived on my own, earned good money, and probably didn't live the lifestyle that I should have lived. And that showed when I came back. I kind of coasted through that period.
Did you go with other players? Was it like a link with Pompey? Was it just an
No.
opportunity?
No, it was just an opportunity that arose. They contacted the club, and not too sure how it came about, but it was. I thought, yeah, it was the next stage, and I think I thought in my mind going from Portsmouth to somewhere in the UK, locally, non-league. I wouldn't say it was admitting defeat, but I kind of wanted to go away. I'd just been let go from a pro club by Harry Redknapp the year they went up to the Premier League, and as much as you go, well, I'm not good enough to play Premier League. Like, I get that, that's fine, I can accept it. So everybody, like your friends, your family, you're a bit like, there is a bit of you that goes, I failed, a little bit, honestly. So when there's an opportunity to go away, not bury my head in the sand, but go away and kind of go at it again. That was my intention until I got out there, earned all right money and lived the dream, and ended up going out most evenings because I was young, but there we go.
Yeah, well, the Ronaldinho experience.
Yeah, I know,
that's always something, it's always a story you can tell.
I came on at half time with him. That was probably the closest I got to him, was stood walking on the pitch with him, because I know Prosinecki's one level, he's like...
You didn't go out with Ronaldinho in Derry, did you?
No.
He wasn't.
No, I actually asked Kluivert when he came on for his shirt, and he was really reluctant to give it to me for some reason. Maybe they were told not to, but I asked once, and then he kind of looked down at me as if I was a piece of muck. So
had to get him for a season match or something, a charity game. Like, you have to give him back.
Yeah, I didn't ask if he wanted mine.
No. Right. So obviously, following that, you went down, like you said, to the non-league. Played for Weymouth briefly, Chelsea, but then you came back up Oxford, like we just talked about. So how was it going down to non-league? But then obviously you came back into the Football League quite quickly after that with Oxford. So how did all that kind of period go for you, and come about that transition from non-league and then back into Football League?
Yeah, I think I actually became a personal trainer when I came back from Ireland, and that was just because the PFA funded it. I wanted to do something. I had to wait international clearance. And I actually just thought I need to get my teeth into something, and I thought if I was a personal trainer, I earn a little bit of money and I also get as fit as I can. And I think that was the changing point. And a lot of people talk about how you can take your game to the next level. Honestly, if you don't have that core level of fitness, you're going to struggle. Sure. So I was in the gym every day doing personal training sessions with people, but also working out myself. And I got myself as fit as the fittest I've ever been. And then decided to get some football. Weymouth was straight away when I came back, but then I went to Chelsea, like you said. I think I can't even remember, it was that long ago, but got a level of fitness and then kind of went on trial and did really well. And I can honestly say I did really well when I was at Oxford, because I was really fit. Like I was in good shape. So
it's really interesting to hear actually you saying about how important the core fitness is as part of your playing career. Like if you haven't got that, you've seen it with players in the Premier League. I mean, like Anderson, or someone who's a talented player years ago for United, but he used to come back after pre-season a little bit bigger, and you can't do it. He struggled, didn't he?
You can't do it nowadays.
Yeah.
I think we're coming into pre-season now, or not now, but maybe next month. But they don't do loads of fitness work now. Obviously, I'm still involved with football. They don't do loads of running and just like anaerobic stuff or aerobic stuff. Sorry. They just do ball work, sharpness, quickness, because that's a given now. You can't not come back fit. Whereas back Prosinecki days, in those days, pre-season was to get fit.
You run round.
Now it's not. Yeah. It's really not. That's how far the game's gone. Because if you've not got that base level of fitness, then there's someone else just waiting to take your place these days.
Yeah, I think it's like sports science and everything like that. Like so much hotter on your case with your levels, I can imagine. So, well, so following Oxford, you went back down into non-league as well. But I've spoken to you before. You said about you studying for a degree.
Yeah.
So did it come to a point where there was a bit of a crossroads, would you say, and like what are you thinking you're going to be doing in the future with your career? How did that all come about? And that's obviously going really well for you.
Yeah, it has, and it wasn't easy. Going from being a pro footballer to a student is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But I think it was age, because I just realised that playing in League One, League Two, like I'm not going to earn enough to retire on.
Yeah.
Like that, people are baffled about like what footballers earn, but it's only those top levels. League Two player, and I know it now because I'm that age where all my friends that have played League Two are now going like, what do you think I should do for a job?
Still
like,
the case.
They need to work, yeah. And they've got nothing behind them. They've got no degree. They've got no, and they fall into coaching roles with kids because they use their name and stuff, which is just great. But I didn't really want to do that, and I got offered a full scholarship to go to a university in the UK. They don't do that very often in the UK. It's kind of an American model. But Hartbury up in Gloucestershire, West Midlands, they offered me a full scholarship. I think they took kind of 3 or 4 years to put themselves on the map with your Loughboroughs, your Baths, and we did. We won every game that we played, and we won every title there was and every cup that there was. So it definitely put the university on the map.
A little bit of a segue while I think of that. I'm not sure it's the case, but I remember when I was, because that's obviously where I'm from that way, there's a couple of Ghanaian guys who played for Evesham who were there, and then they've gone on, a couple of them gone playing MLS. So were you there at the same time?
Yeah,
around that time.
Titi Akam.
Cam.
Titi Akam, he's playing in the US now on mega money.
I remember him in the Southern Premier League. You see, like playing Redditch, my team.
Yeah,
and I was like blooming hell.
They could only play because of the international clearance. I think they could only play in front of a certain amount of fans, which meant like the teams like Redditch and Evesham, they did all right because they should have been playing higher, really.
Yeah.
And I actually because through work I got Titi Akam or David Akam into the Nike Academy.
Yeah.
And from then he went to Sweden, and I think if you play a certain amount of games in Sweden, you're then eligible. Not sure how it all works, but he's now playing in the States. Like he's earning some serious dough, and there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they deserve it. They worked really, really hard. I mean, you look at culture. Like they would come to university on a scholarship through Right to Dream, which is a foundation. They would work in the canteen, like they would be clearing plates, they would be serving plates, absolutely brilliant. Always with a smile, the friendliest, nicest guys around. Unbelievable at football and unbelievable athletes. Didn't drive but ran into town. Like I'm just going to run to town, like 6 or 7 miles away, just to get some bits and bobs and come back. Like their attitude was, there was no moaning, there was no kind of, and I love that because certainly up in the West Midlands, which is a relatively affluent place, you'd know because you're from there. There's a lot of, say, spoiled students.
100%.
And you've got these, and you just really want them to do well. And it's nice that those guys have done really, really well. Yeah, they deserve it.
So like obviously talking of that, so you did that for a few years. You played in and around the southwest, I guess, during
Forest
that time.
Green. Yeah, Forest Green. So it wasn't like a huge drop. I say it was Conference National. So
still to compare. Really
exactly. So is it pro? Is it not pro? And that's a debate. Like, are we non-league players or are we semi-pro players? And I don't know where it stops and where it starts. Like I would only say that full-time is pro, and outside of that is non-league. Well, I guess after League 2 is non-league, and if you're not full-time, you're semi-pro. I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of full-time.
Like, there's a lot of people out there say I'm a semi-pro footballer, but they're playing like this level. It's like, are you semi-pro or are you just non-league? I think non-league suits this level better, and then when you get to like conference, it's semi-pro maybe. That's all the politics one. Anyway, so played for Forest Green whilst studying, and actually had a job as well at a gym. So I had loads of stuff going on. Managed to get my degree, which was a godsend in the end. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you obviously work for Nike now, which is a fantastic link. So did that come about relatively quickly after that, or was that something you've developed into as you've gone through?
No, it came about straight away.
Oh, amazing.
And like I say, I've done some kind of talks to students now. I'm a bit older and stuff, and I just say just we use the term in football busy. Just be busy. Just be, and I think that just means just be proactive. Bear in mind, I was a pro footballer coming to a student. The first game, I ran the line because nobody else would, but I said, yeah, I'll do it, of course I will. Just kind of, A, to show the team that, like, I'm one of you lot, and kind of fit in, and B, just because I really wanted the team to do well, because that was the reason I went there. Yeah. I actually ran the line, like I say, and I would just, from then onwards, I would get there early, do the balls, do the, equipment, try and help, and just do more and more and more, and I think, looking back on it, I would give anybody, if my advice to anyone would just be like, be mega proactive. Because then when it comes to giving a job, I got put forward to go to work for Nike by somebody at the uni. And they wouldn't have just put anybody forward. They knew that I'd have took the ball by the horns and really give it my all, and if I failed, I'd have failed trying. And I think it's the case now, I'm a bit older, I would put my name to certain people, but I wouldn't to other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, straight from uni, straight into Nike. Yeah, it's all evolved into one. Really pleased that I work for a sports brand, because it kind of ties in my football and my education into one. A lot of other football lads that went to the uni, they're now investment bankers or I don't know, right? Some of them are tradesmen. Like, it's absolutely whatever avenue you want to go down.
Sure.
But I always think like CV wise, mine flows all right.
Yeah.
And I kind of use my strengths to help me in my role now.
Yeah, it's a testament, isn't it? Really, like you said, hard work, and people are going to recommend you for things. So it's a great kind of attitude to have. So in terms of following that, when you kind of came out of university, I guess it seemed like you relocated back down to this area. You signed for Gosport. I believe it was around like 2011, 2012.
I actually went to Blackfield and Langley first.
Oh, really?
And that was because I didn't really know how I was going to manage football and my job.
Yeah.
So that was kind of testing the water, because a new job, I didn't want anything to come in the way of that. And similar to a recent experience, like I don't want anything to come in the way of my work.
Yeah.
So I went to Blackfield first, but yeah, I moved down to the south coast. I think, no disrespect to you, but the West Midlands is a bit behind in terms of like, it's amazing. Like my wife's from there and her family, like it's such a lovely place. Like it's unreal, but it's slow in terms of like London's one extreme. I think West Midlands is the other extreme, and that's not disrespectful because people go and retire there. It's an amazing place, but I see Portsmouth, like where we are now, as kind of like fast enough pace of life, but you get enough time to kind of, it's not too busy. That like I spend time in London, but I can't wait to get out of there. It's too busy, and I go to West Midlands. It's too relaxed.
There's disparities in West Midlands. There's pockets of everything, and I think until it's the north. It's not the north, it's the Midlands. I'm a Midlander, so I'm definitely going to say it. But in terms of the Manchesters and Birmingham, until they're going to catch up with London economically, it's another debate. But I totally get that, and I think that's why this area is so good, isn't it? Because like you said, it's that pace, and it's near the coast. Like we can't complain. So
I was in Tewkesbury. Not exactly the fastest pace of my
No, well, there is, and definitely Gloucestershire.
Cheltenham's not bad, but Gloucestershire and the place that I was living was relatively relaxed.
Yeah, a lot of campsites and things like that as well. Yeah, lovely walks. Walks. So in terms of when you came back down here, like you then went into like Gosport, and then seems to be like Gosport and then Havant has been where you've spent most of your time of your career, like in that later stage. So how was your time at Gosport? I've seen probably in the period I kind of worked out when you were there, because they had those double promotions. There was that one season, I remember when you were in the same league as Redditch, where you were near the bottom at the beginning of the season and then just went on a mad run and ended up getting promoted again through the playoffs. And then I guess all of that success culminated in the FA Trophy run. Was that something you were a part of as well, like to Wembley? So just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Wembley was, I'd say, like that would be up there with the Barcelona game. Like, that was a hell of an experience. Just playing at Wembley and just having friends and family there, which I didn't necessarily have when I was playing against Barcelona because it was in Northern Ireland. Went to Gosport. I'd probably say my non-league years have been more enjoyable and more successful than my professional years. Like, everybody sees it as like, oh, you were a pro footballer for 7 years. It's not. It was good, but you're always fighting for another year. You're on a 1 or a 2 year deal. Yeah. Like, you try and get finance on a car, you're always worried, like, if I lose my contract, I've still got to try and pay for the car. And that's, I think, what I'm saying about League Two. It's not as rosy as people think. So then, non-league successes, back-to-back promotion with Gosport, Wembley with Gosport, back-to-back promotions with Havant. Like, they've been my successes, really, and nothing beats the promotion, no matter what league you're in. You just want to chase that one more promotion, like we could do it here. Like, and that's why I'm here. Like, it's realistic. It's realistic that we could go back to back, genuinely, because like, look at the place. It's phenomenally lower than where it should be. Like, I'm talking at least 2 levels below the stadium, the level of play, absolutely everything. So I think they'd have done it last year, being up there. I think everybody expected them to. So
It's almost a challenge, isn't it, with the promotion spots? I mean, there's a lot of teams who want to do it, and it's the golden ticket of finishing in that bit. And then if you get up to the next level, like, who knows? But so I guess in terms of playing at Wembley, just to kind of build on that a little bit more before we move on, like how was that whole day and experience? Because you were Conference South, I believe, at the time as well.
Yeah, we didn't take it for what it was. We were Gosport, and we were a rough and ready team. Self-admittedly, not amazing at football, but we were winners. And I think I've had that my whole career. Like, I've never been amazing at football, but I'm a winner. Like, and that's the same as my uni work and my work now. Like, I might not be the best, but what you can lack in ability, you make up for having enthusiasm and endeavour. So we were that in a nutshell. Like, we self-admittedly weren't the best footballers around. So coming into that experience, yes, we had overnight in a hotel, but it wasn't overnight nerves and sit around for a meal and talk tactics. Like, I think some of the boys were having a drink. Like, you're just about to play at Wembley, but we were what we were. Like, some people relating to like the crazy gang and those days, but they were successful again. Terrible at football probably, but scared and intimidated the opposition. And we didn't want to take away from what we were. We knew what we were. So the experience to do that with a pro team, like with a professional team, and to do it with Gosport would have been totally different. We just had a laugh with it. We really did, and then we enjoyed ourselves on the day. You know, I think I was in tears at the end of it because you want to win, and I'm a winner, and I think quite a few of the lads were, just because of you're playing in front of quite a few people and the whole experience, and your friends and family there, and you want to win. So it's upsetting when you don't win. But listen, Cambridge got promoted that year, and they won that cup. Like, we were never going to beat Cambridge, but there's that little glimmer of hope, and I think it's the same with the FA Cup, right? You think you could do it. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Hi everyone, I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of the episode so far. If you have, then make sure you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as checking out our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and all our social media handles you can see below. We are now accepting memberships to join the Arancione. If you're interested in joining the official fans group of AFC Portchester, then please see our pinned tweet on Twitter, which will lead you to a sign-up form. Yearly membership is £33 for adults, £20 for under 18s, or alternatively, £3 a month direct debit for adults, or £2 a month for youth members. So what are you going to be getting for your money then? Well, this money is going to be going only on improving the club's facilities, as well as events and experiences for fans. You will receive a membership pack for the new season, including your membership card that entitles you to 10% off at the bar and a free burger and drink on your birthday. As well as this, you will receive your members pin badge, terrace stickers and a year subscription to Pulp, Punditry and Portchy fanzine, which is currently in the works. Membership or not, absolutely everyone is welcome at the club. The bar will be reopening for cold beverages and hot food with social distancing measures in place from July the 4th. So come on PO16, get down the Crest Vinuts down Cranley Road and support your community club. Forza Portchy. Right then, let's dive into part 2 of our episode with assistant manager Lee Molyneaux. You'll hear about his time at Havant, him dipping his toes into management last season at Gosport, and also what are his thoughts on the new squad and the developments at AFC Portchester for the coming season, whenever that may be. So here's the second part. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, so in terms of Wembley, gotten to that point, obviously kind of the pinnacle of that success at Gosport. Then you went and signed for Havant around 2015. So was that, I guess, what point were they at when you signed for them? Because they, again, went down, but then they had success and then came back up to the Conference National and had a few successful years. So how did that kind of time at Havant go?
Amazing. Yeah, and it was a big step. I remember actually, Katz being at Gosport at the time was assistant manager. He was pretty much the manager. But I remember him at the time going, mate, what a move. He's gone, that's a big club. And they are a proper club. And I said to Paul here, I said, like, if you do things properly, you'll build your reputation as being a proper club. And Havant, like, they are bang on everything. They are a real professional setup.
You can tell
really, really good, yeah. So it was like it's not, I know it's only a level above, but it's a big club. So it was, again, just got myself as fit as I could. Went there and did all right, certainly in the first year. And we, again, back-to-back promotions. So, it was brilliant. Really, really good.
Awesome.
It was chalk and cheese from Gosport. Because Gosport, we knew where we were. We knew what we were. We worked with what we had and did well that way. And haven't had everything and did it well the other way by doing it properly.
Sure. Yeah, and I think they've been pushing, haven't they, themselves to want to get promoted this season. They finished second, so they're clearly a club that doing things right at the same time as well.
And they deserve to go up this year. They really do.
Yeah,
I've been to watch a few of their games. Like the determination, and certainly from behind the scenes and the staff and stuff, they've put so much time and effort in that when this COVID hit, you can only imagine what they were feeling. And it's probably annoying people, like myself included. You know, we have to get the playoffs done. We have to get. I think they went to the blooming mayor, I think, and Parliament to figure out. Yeah, but would I? Yes, probably. Yeah. I'd fight hammer tooth and nail to actually get up. You've spent all that, not just money, but time, dedication, everything to get to where you are.
Livelihoods, isn't it? Sacrifices.
Yeah, they sacrifice, and honestly, like people don't really realise the sacrifice in football. Like Paul Doswell, for example. Like I know he's a family guy, but his wife and his kids and everything, they would go through a certain amount, but we could get promoted. Like we could do it. Like, oh, you do it. Like you not necessarily. I don't know Paul's life, but you justify why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think for that all to come crashing down, all that sacrifice will just pay on your mind. And the same for every like Portchester itself. Like people put their time, money, effort into a football club, and you know, yes, it is, and it should be a hobby, and it should be secondary to your job probably at non-league. But there's a lot of time and effort.
And it's a community, isn't it? Ultimately, I fell into it through the fans group. I've only really been around this place a year, and it's people. You know, people with their name on the stand who literally built this club from the bottom, and I think that's what's so good about non-league is it's the community, isn't it? That's what people want to buy into. So in terms of following your career at Havant, like last season, obviously stepped into the realm of management at Gosport. How was your time, obviously there as manager? Were you managing some people you also played with as your teammates, or has that squad moved on?
Yeah, quite a few. It's your go-to, right?
Yeah.
You're building the team, you've got a successful team at Havant. Havant's gone full-time, they've not got a football player. Of course I'm going to go after those players who are exceptionally good footballers, but have to stay local. Of course I would. If I could do it again, I wouldn't have so many. I think there is a lot of that kind of friendship, football balance. Lee Bradbury said to me, like he was so sceptical about signing me because I think I was the first friend that he signed as a footballer. And he was so nervous about it, and I did that times 5 or 6. And yeah, I mean, relationships became jaded, and team just through team selection or through how you did things. And I would have 1 or 2. I probably wouldn't have so many.
Yeah. It's difficult people management, isn't it? Just in any realm of job, and it's not a test on your friendships. It's a case of like. It's crossing that business, isn't it? If you look at it that way, business and friendship, and you're always going to, you know, it's part and parcel. You're always going to get people who are going to get a hump if they're not in the team, and that's part
you want them
of it,
to as well.
Yeah,
so
it's
so difficult. Like it's so difficult. Someone's going to be upset they're not playing. Of course they are, and they're going to show that to me. But it's hard to digest. Do they mean that personally, or do they mean that as like just because they're not playing, they're angry? Are they showing me as I'm a manager that they're not angry, that they're not happy? Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I would hate them to be happy not playing. And honestly, in my mind, you're just juggling so many things. And I think that's what it came down to. Like experience of management times 2,000 for me. It was like I've learned so much, and every manager I spoke to, Steve Claridge, or all the other managers I speak to, they said you would have learned so much the hard way.
It's always the best way sometimes.
Which is the best way, yeah. Like if it was a doddle and I just kind of had a laugh and a joke with it, which I couldn't do that. Like if I'm doing something, like again, like here, like if I'm doing something, I'm doing it. And if I'm totally transparent, I stepped away from Gosport because I couldn't give it the attention and the time that it needed, or that it deserved. Really, it's a really good club. I wasn't the guy for that. Like I couldn't do that anymore. I gave everything I could in my first year and more. Probably tried to do too much stuff at once. I was juggling a lot. I tried with the community, but I'm dipping my toe into all these different things when really the football's my number one. So I dip my toe in and then I'd be like, actually that's not my importance. My importance is winning on Saturday. So I'd kind of retract from doing it all, and then, you know, I just tried to dabble in so much.
I think Gary Nichols said that at Valencia. Even though he was only there and he was there with his mate, let people in, he said that he was sat in like branding meetings and he's like, why was I doing it at that point. I guess that's who he is.
You do, yeah.
But you want to be involved, and it's testament because you want the club to succeed, and you want different areas that it's not just. It is the football is the most important thing, but if you get the other things right as well, then the club grows in the club in the community, isn't it?
Exactly. No, I think the same. Like I went in, I wanted everything to be perfect, because then when everything's perfect, you've got the foundation to really go. But I think I did okay to get I think they're in a better place now, foundation-wise. Not just thanks to me, but I think I helped that and rebuild the team and rebuild, to give a foundation to go again, to then be able to really push on. The fans deserve more than finishing second bottom for the last 3 years, and we finished mathematically 7th maybe. I still think we'd have made playoffs, but we were kind of on a roll. Sean Gale came in and we were doing good things. It was by no means easy. I kept Braybrook as a coach. Ben Neller was my assistant. He was probably the most kind of level set and support network for me. Like, he was phenomenal. And it's difficult for Ben because he gets a lot of he's a brash guy. Like, you're laughing now, like he takes a lot. And he took so much from me, and he always had my back. Always. And so that's what you mean by and more people like that in football the better, because regardless if he agreed with what was going on, he'd have my back, and then outside be like, I actually agree with what so said. I'm like, mate, that's unbelievable that you had my back at that time. And he did a lot of dog work for me, and like he was brilliant. Like, pick up the phone, he'd do anything. So he was my stability, and then I had Kev Braybrook as an assistant, as a coach. And he wasn't there on match days, but he was a coach, and he did a lot of stuff because he's an excellent coach. And then Sean Gale came in, who's the manager now, and I'm pleased he is, because I think he can really take the club to the next level. Like, people ask me, like, how do you feel about it? I'm like, brilliant. Like, I owe no resentment to the club. I just couldn't do it myself. Sean can take it on. He's got way more experience than me. I hope they do really well. I really do.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, I think they're a club, like you said, within the community. There's a lot of if there's a lot of clubs that are run right or getting into those places, because it hasn't always been. And I think the place it's at now absolutely is really positive. So obviously we're here now. Like, we've stepped away from Gosport, like you said, in terms of your managing time and like putting the effort in. We came into assistant manager role here. Heard it was interesting how Kat's got you on board. He turned up at your house, was it, or something like that outside?
He spoke to me originally on the phone, just said, what are you doing? Kind of as a mentor one, but I knew what he wanted. And then he showed up at my house randomly. I was actually out the front. I thought, gutter care, I know that van. And it was Kat's. He just showed me how much he wanted me to be part of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people joke that we look similar with our grey beards and our bald heads. I could be a stunt double, but I'm sure we'll get a lot of stick this year. But it was a no-brainer when I came down here. I love Kat's to death. He's brilliant. He's a good manager. I think he hasn't had enough support, and I think that was the only thing lacking really last year. He just needs a bit of support, a bit of help, and if I can, I predominantly want to play, but if I can be that support network for him as well, then excellent. And it'll allow me a bit more time to dabble in those little bits that I was trying to do at Gosport, but also trying to manage.
Of course.
So I've just got no stresses and strains of management, but I can dabble and help build the club, hopefully.
No, that's fantastic. And you're saying about like wanting to play, is that something you're really interested in carrying on doing? No, that'd be
100%.
fantastic.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this is Wessex League, and last year I played a few games for Gosport in the Conference South, and this season before that, Conference South and Conference. Like, I know years go on and your body, and it takes its toll, but again, if I can get myself fit, I've got the bit between my teeth. I did it when I needed to throughout my whole career, and I'm keen to do it again.
Oh, it's exciting to see. I mean, what's your thoughts on the squad, like as it is at the moment? I mean, a lot of people started to become assembled just before you came in, but I mean, with yourself playing as well, like it's on paper a really strong squad. So what are your thoughts for when I guess the season does start? What do you think that squad can achieve?
Oh, it can achieve promotion easily, and it can achieve the final of the bars, and probably win it, which is going to be aspirations. The issue with that, and I had it last year, is everybody else raises their game.
Yeah.
And if the lads aren't prepared and aren't ready for that, you drop your game 10%, someone else raises theirs 10%, you're 20% different. That's a big percentage. So you've just got to be at it every single game. And I think I'll need to reiterate that to the boys, because I don't think I did well enough last year at Gosport, because we were on paper again league winners, league favourites.
Yeah.
Everybody raised their game. Everybody realises and knows what we were about. So they didn't want to be humiliated. So again, they raised their game. We probably arrogantly thought we're going to win games. Can't have it. It just, the margins aren't that big. So that's our aim: promotion and win the Vars. But who knows?
Remove that day at Wembley.
Who knows? Yeah, get me back there.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, yeah, I think we're going to have that obvious target, aren't we? And there'll be other clubs as well going for the league. But
yeah,
I think it's going to be
in the league. It's a competitive league, really competitive league.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting season. So, in terms of like the ambition of the club, we've already talked about that a little bit. But like, is that something you believe that like if we can get promoted, it is a challenge, but we're set up to do that? Where do you see the club in maybe like 5 years with its potential? Where could it be, do you think?
In 5 years, I'd say 2 leagues.
Yeah.
And that's realistic. I think you could do back-to-back. You might have to have a year in the league above.
Yeah.
Like I say, the club's set up, the way it's from top to bottom, the way it's funded by sponsorship to the way it's run on a day-to-day basis with somebody always here, always working on stuff, always improving the club. It deserves to be 2 leagues above, and I think in 5 years is realistic, 2 leagues above. To go again up from 2 leagues above, it's probably going to make the club unstable, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And you do get clubs that go too high and too soon. So
happens
5
every
years
few
to 2 leagues probably.
No, it's really fair. In terms of, I guess, where we're going to look at now, just a few quick questions to round things off in terms of some of the players you've played against, some of the best teammates. So just got a few quick fire questions to finish things off. So the first one I've got is like best player in general, not necessarily just non-league, you've played against and why. Probably one we've maybe already heard about, some of them, but
Ronaldinho, probably
the
best. I played with and against Crouchy. That was
Brilliant.
tough.
Yeah.
But there's some weird ones. There's some really weird ones. James Hayter.
Yeah.
He's a tough striker, and that's because I am the defender that I am. So I probably do better against, I'm going to say Cliver, not Cliver, somebody bigger and just naturally that would suit me more.
Yeah.
James Hayter, like you don't know where he is. His brain is 2 steps ahead.
Like a wasp or something like
in
that.
In training, in games, whenever I've played against him, you'll see him, and the second you turn your head, he's gone behind you the other way and he's tapping it in, and it's that sort of thing that you really have to stay alert with him. James Hayter, honestly, like he was tough to play against, and I think I say that. Not because he's better than Ronaldinho, but Ronaldinho was in like second gear, and the team itself, we hardly got the ball. Whereas James Hayter, it was a real tough battle to stay alert and stay on him and stuff.
Sure.
He sticks in my mind as one that I've hated playing against.
Is that like, because he's played in non-league, is that right as well? Hayter?
Yeah.
So is that would that be like one of the best in the non-league you've played
in
against?
Non-league, yeah. Yeah, that was one I feared playing.
Yeah.
In the game, I marked Joe Cole. When I was at Oxford, we played Chelsea. That was tough. Joe Cole was probably one of the best players in the world at that stage. He was
talent, wasn't he? Absolutely.
And the sort of player that would just trick your mind and you're lost. I was on my arse most of the game. Crouchy, who's better? Deco, Puyol, Kluivert, Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
That was an amazing experience. That was really cool.
That's cool with Crouchy as well. Definitely, I can imagine that's a good experience. So, in terms of best game you've been involved in, what would you say in terms of that?
Best game? Not even the Wembley one. Yeah, it was the Wembley one, but like the playoff finals.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone wants to get promoted straight away, but playoff finals, they are so nervy.
I can
and
imagine.
They start off like a game of chess, and in the end it becomes a pure scrap. And you've got to save your energy and stuff. Like there's a tactical way to win those games. They're brilliant. Any playoff final I've been involved in is just, and then the buzz afterwards. The buzz of winning the league is amazing, but the buzz of actually the second the final whistle goes and you've
one off.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Only imagine. In terms of like favourite non-league ground you've ever played at or visited, would you say like enjoyed playing there, or maybe the reverse as well? Like where have you not enjoyed playing at?
Where have I not enjoyed playing? Anywhere with a slope.
Yeah. I call Hornby, no offence because it's what it is, but like screwball scramble, you know, game from the 90s, like there's it's not just Hornby, there's loads of pitches, like it's non-league, isn't it, like how we are, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Leyton Orient, probably one of the best non-league. Yeah, and
sure.
Again, they don't deserve to be non-league.
No.
It's a good setup and a good stadium.
No, absolutely. And then just to kind of finish off things, in terms of a five-a-side team, you can yourself being included in it.
I definitely would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt go general from the back. In terms of that, like, what would be the other 4 players then from your teammates, so people you've played with? Who would you have in your team?
I'll keep it relative. Like I'll keep it so people know who they are because I'm old that people won't. I'd say number 1 would be George Barker.
Yeah.
I don't know why he popped in my head immediately when I knew you were asking that question.
Yeah,
when you first said it. He's scary. Like again, he's really good on the ball. 5-a-side specialist, I would imagine. Never seen him in 5-a-side, but I would definitely have him on my team. Another Georgie Way.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
I know the name.
Yeah, he played with me at Gosport. I don't know if he's still playing. I think he is. Again, he actually is a 5-a-side expert. Like he's similar to George. So then I'd probably need someone who's going to put a foot in, apart from me. Rory Williams, probably. Yeah. He's got both. George, they've got the flair, and they would intimidate teams with their feet. But Rory's kind of like not a hybrid. That's probably an injustice to him comparing him to me. But like he's got the grit, the determination, the willingness to win, the leadership. But he's got the pace, the ability, and stuff. And he's left-footed. So.
Who's in goal then as well? That's the one. Oh yeah, Rush goal.
Ashmore. Yeah. Best goal I've ever played with. Yeah. And top lad as well, like good band.
Awesome.
Just a great guy.
Awesome, bro. It's been fantastic.
No, pleasure. I love it.
I'm really looking forward to the new season.
Yeah, nice.
Alright, that's the end of episode 2, guys. Just remember then to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and also in terms of our social media, you can find us on @Arancione Fans on Twitter. Until next time, Pulp Portchy.